Starting from the second half of 2018, global equities had challenging market conditions. Increased volatility due to sharp reversals resulted in failed breakouts or breakouts that fell short of their price targets. However, there were still some great breakout opportunities that were captured by the TechChart's Global Equity Markets report. Each one of those were featured under the watch list and were highlighted to TechChart's members under breakout alerts. Following breakout opportunities were some of the best 20 from the alerts our members received. 14-month-long ascending triangle on National Industries Group Kuwait completed with a strong weekly bar, and it was followed by consecutive weekly gains. Price target was met within a few weeks. The breakout took place after several tests of chart pattern boundary. This is one of the qualities that I look for before a breakout takes place. SID Nacional from Brazil formed a 2-year-long symmetrical triangle. Usually breakouts from lengthy consolidations like these are followed by strong breakouts and trend periods. This was a breakout that took place in February 2019. After few weeks of hesitation around the chart pattern boundary, breakout took place with a strong weekly bar. Another symmetrical triangle formed on Ericsson from Sweden. The symmetrical triangle formed in a steady uptrend. I look for bullish continuation chart patterns above the long-term averages. Breakout from the 3-month-long symmetrical triangle was with a strong weekly bar. Best breakouts are those that never challenge the chart pattern boundary after the breakout takes place. Dios Fast from Sweden formed an 11-month-long symmetrical triangle. Both the upper and lower boundaries were tested several times. The consolidation took place above the long-term average. Breakout took place with a strong weekly candlestick. After consecutive weekly gains, price reached its chart pattern price target. Clark Thomas formed a 3-year-long ascending triangle with a well-defined horizontal boundary. This was a stock from UK. I like to see horizontal boundaries breaking out after several tests. Breakout took place with a strong weekly bar. It is possible to see a pullback after a breakout. Pullbacks that find support at or above the chart pattern boundaries are usually followed by the continuation of the trend. China Overseas formed a 6-month-long head and shoulder bottom. The neckline and the 200-day moving average overlapped at the same level, making it a strong resistance. Breakouts that clear chart pattern boundaries and important technical resistances are usually reliable. Breakout took place with a strong weekly candlestick. Following the breakout, price pulled back to the chart pattern boundary and the long-term average. Erste Group from Austria formed a 14-month-long head and shoulder top. The right shoulder of the top reversal chart pattern was a rectangle. Breakdown not only completed the head and shoulder top but also the rectangle chart pattern that acted as a bearish continuation. Both chart patterns completed below the long-term average, which I call the path of least resistance. Vitrolife from Sweden formed one of my favorite chart pattern setups, a rectangle with well-defined boundaries. 15-month-long rectangle completed with a strong weekly candlestick. However, following the strong breakout, the stock entered into another lengthy consolidation that acted as a pullback to the chart pattern boundary. Eventually, the minor consolidation as well completed on the upside, pushing Vitrolife to its chart pattern price target. NTN in Japan formed a year-long descending triangle. Downward sloping upper boundary gives the descending triangle its bearish bias. Descending triangle is another chart pattern with a well-defined horizontal boundary. Breakdown took place with a strong weekly candle. Marriott Vacations, listed on the New York Stock Exchange, formed a 19-month-long head and shoulder top reversal. The right shoulder formed below the long-term average, a sign that I look for a developing change in trend. Strong breakdown was followed by consecutive weekly closes that pushed the price towards its chart pattern price target. Societe Generale, listed on the Paris Stock Exchange, formed a 5-month-long rectangle chart pattern that acted as a bearish continuation. Breakdown was followed by a sharp sell-off. While the pullback retested the chart pattern boundary and took few weeks to complete, the downtrend resumed towards the chart pattern price target. Fraport in Germany formed a year-long head and shoulder top. The neckline was a well-defined horizontal boundary that was tested several times. The right shoulder formed around the 200-day average, and the chart pattern breakdown took place below the long-term average. Sienna Corp formed a 14-month-long cup with handle continuation. The handle part of the chart pattern was a 5-month-long head and shoulder continuation. The horizontal boundary was tested several times. The breakout took place with a strong weekly candle. We have seen a pullback, a retest of the chart pattern boundary. AON, listed on the New York Stock Exchange, formed a 10-month-long symmetrical triangle. Both boundaries were tested several times. The symmetrical triangle took place above the long-term average. Breakout took place with a strong weekly close. Following the breakout, the stock experienced a pullback. However, the pullback didn't challenge the chart pattern boundary. National Bank of Kuwait formed a 9-month-long ascending triangle. The bullish continuation chart pattern formed above its long-term average. Breakout took place with a strong weekly candlestick. It took several weeks for another consolidation to form. However, the consolidation was not even close to challenge the chart pattern boundary. Completion of the short-term consolidation pushed the stock to its chart pattern price target. Geely Auto formed a 6-month-long descending triangle that acted as a bearish reversal chart pattern. The downward sloping trend line of the chart pattern boundary gives its bearish bias. The horizontal boundary was tested several times. Breakdown took place below the long-term average. I like to see bearish chart patterns complete below the long-term average. I call it the path of least resistance. Cellavision from Sweden formed a year-long symmetrical triangle. Both chart pattern boundaries were tested several times. The breakout took place with a strong weekly close. The pullback didn't challenge the chart pattern boundary. Pullbacks that find support at or above the chart pattern boundary are usually followed by continuation of the trend. Quebecor formed an 8-month-long rectangle chart pattern above its long-term average. Both chart pattern boundaries were tested several times. Breakout took place with a strong weekly candlestick. CP Clean Energy formed a 21-month-long descending triangle. Bearish chart pattern's lower boundary was tested several times. Breakdowns from bearish chart patterns to all-time lows are usually reliable. Breakdown took place with a long weekly candle. A short pullback didn't even challenge the chart pattern boundary. This clearly showed the weakness in the stock price. Pullback was followed by a sharp drop towards the chart pattern boundary. Fiera Milano formed a 7-month-long symmetrical triangle above the long-term average. Breakout took place with a strong weekly candlestick.